Speaking of love, there's another movie we're covering. It's called Gagarine.
Mais c'est quoi ici?
C'est chez moi.
Gagarine. Yeah, what are we gonna say about Gagarine? It's set on a real project in I guess in France. I'm assuming, and these projects. And what happens is one of the youths, he's really determined. Even it's a housing project, they're going to demolish it, and he is determined to actually stay there no matter what the cost. And the big thing about this movie is it's a movie about community, about the people who live in this really big building. The only problem is it's being demolished for the right reasons. It's not up to health code, but there are people who've been living here for generations. And this movie tries to connect all the different generations who have lived in this building. It's a very intimate look at the people who live in this building, especially as seen through the eyes from the lead character, who's very, very good. This teenager his name is Yuri, Youri, and it's played by a newcomer named Alseni Bathily, and he's excellent in this movie. Very, very good. And this community of Gagarine, they're named after the famed Russian cosmonaut who inaugurated these buildings back in 1963. So these are real buildings. These are I guess fictionalized lives behind these buildings, and it's a very visually immersive film, but it's also just a beautifully just rendered and crafted film. Where there's different people. The people that this Yuri meets along the way are very interesting, and it's just a very intimate drama along with excellent visuals. I'm very, very high on this movie, and I'm hoping Bruce and Eric are high on Gagarine as well. Opens in theaters on Friday, April 1st in select cities. Eric Holmes, were you high on Gagarine, or did it not please you? What did you think?
Not completely high, but I did like it. This is one of those movies, like it does that. It's got kind of a lot of things going for it. It's like a I don't know, like a community sort of thing. A little bit of hero, because the community's trying to keep this apartment alive when they want to tear it down, and they're like, oh, where else are we gonna go? So it's got certain social elements of that, like. Yeah, you don't want people living in here because it's it's a hazard, could kill them. But as you know, what else can kill them? Being out in the elements when it's freezing outside, that can kill you too. So and probably do you a lot quicker. And then it's got like the space elements. The main character Yuri, he kind of imagines himself as an astronaut through a lot of this. I didn't quite get that, but I liked it. Just because I don't understand things doesn't mean I don't. Doesn't mean I don't like it. Sometimes it's just interesting. I'm like, I wonder what this means. I don't know, but I'm kind of digging it. And then what's the female character's name? The
Diana, played by
Diana.
Lyna Khoudri.
Yeah, I love her. I love the romance between her and Yuri. It's kind of this movie kind of like tries for a bunch of different things. I don't think it quite lands all of them. But it was sort of a gumbo pot that I was sort of digging on. I couldn't tell you what his dreams of him being an astronaut have to do with the story, but it just kind of worked for me. And I don't know, I'm an idiot because I can't explain why. Maybe Bruce can.
Yeah, Bruce. I was just absolutely moved by this film. The idea that you have a tenement building that is neighbors to the moon, which seems so far up in the sky, but no matter who we are, we're all dreamers, and we're all connected in some way. Did this movie resonate with you?
It did. I really liked it quite a bit. I think that one thing we're not quite capturing about this, and I don't think this is really a spoilable movie per se, is that the first half is much more this community thing we're talking about, and Yuri's doing all these things, like he's trying to salvage electrical parts and things and basically get the building up to code so it can be saved and they will be allowed to live there. But the second half of this movie, we didn't mention Denis Lavant is in this too, from Holy Motors.
Oh yeah. Yeah, good
and
catch.
more importantly, The Lovers on the Bridge, because I feel like this filmmaker probably loved The Lovers on the Bridge, because there's this whole thing about people on the outskirts of society, or that are on the verge of the outskirts of society, that are attached to a dilapidated physical landmark in France. And there's also this element of kind of magic, of making that space almost magical, almost have more to it than just brick and mortar. And I think the second half of this movie, when it becomes a little more isolated and a little more personal, and it sticks more with Yuri and Diana mostly, and another character, which took a turn that I was very surprised by. There's that third person they meet up with that you think is going to be an antagonist and doesn't end up being an antagonist. And I really liked how that played out too. But in the production design and the way it plays out, I think it becomes truly beautiful and magical in some of the scenes. There's a sequence where Diana, takes Yuri up a construction crane that is beautiful. Am I giving away something?
No.
No, I'm saying as soon as she put his blindfold on as he's climbing up, I'm like, nope. Stop.
Oh, it's just a nope for you. But I mean, that scene.
No, you're right. It was a great scene. It's just I put myself in that position. I'm like, I'm not climbing that thing blindfolded. You're crazy.
And I think that there are scenes that they don't quite reach it. They get really close to the fireworks scene in The Lovers on the Bridge. That kind of mystical, magical, but actual setting. This is a real place. There's some shots towards the end of this. There's a shot with, you're constantly seeing him tinker with things, and sometimes you're not knowing what he's doing. And when you kind of see his final work of art, I guess I'll call it, it's kind of amazing. I actually really love this movie. I think that for the right audience, I think if you're really into those they feel like these slice of life movies, but they also have a magical element. And I'm thinking of things like, I don't know, like Beasts of the Southern Wild or Florida Project, all these kind of movies where they're kind of grounded, but at the same time, there's something ethereal about them, dreamlike about them. I think this is in that category, and I think this is really kind of transcendent and a beautiful movie. I think a lot of people can get something out of this.
Yeah, it sticks to landing, proverbially sticks to landing. The third act, when we find out Yuri's experiments, what he's been going out for, it's very hard not to start chopping onions when you're when you're watching what happens towards the end of Gagarine. And yeah, high marks for me. I give it 4 stars. Eric Holmes, what do you give it?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, go 3.5. Yeah,
I kind of want to give it 3.5, and that's not to say it's going to stay there, because I think this is like one of the, because everything Bruce said I agree with, and we'll do the 3.5 with room to grow, I guess, because I think I'm at 3.5 now. I could watch this a couple more times and I could get up to as high as 4.5. It's certainly a movie worth checking out, but I'm not quite on its level yet, but I think I will get there.
No, that's 3.5 is at least a solid recommend from Eric Holmes. I give it 4 stars. Again, like Eric, I have room to grow with this. This is like a 4 to 4.5. I'm giving it a 4 right now. Bruce, what do you give it?
I'm 5 stars.
5 stars for Bruce.
The last half of this movie really caught me, and I loved it so much. I think if it had stayed where it was at the first half, I would have probably been 3.5, 4 stars. But it was so good by the end that I was just like, nope, 5 stars.
Now, without giving too much away, I also loved, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, as much as it could have gone for very saccharine stuff, and there are emotional moments, they did not go way too sugary. Did you appreciate the decision not to go too sugary on this?
Yeah.
Okay, Gagarine, yeah, that's a very, very good movie, and it is coming out in select theaters April 1st. Actually, search this movie out. Tell us what you think of Gagarine. It is a fantastic, fantastic film. 3.5 from Eric Holmes, 4 from me, and 5 stars. 5-star banger from Bruce Perky.